Hey you guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Rustin's Boneyard. I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to show you a really simple and delicious dish, lamb and eggs. So I've got a lamb shoulder here. It's bone-in, but the shoulder shank is off. This is from a lamb breakdown I've done myself. Just vac seal it, pop it in the freezer until I'm ready to use it. I'm just going to take it out of the seal. Some sea salt. Just going to rub it in all over, get a good seasoning on it. So the idea is that we're just going to braise this lamb down slowly in the casserole. We can then portion it and keep it in the freezer until we're ready to use it. Now, there's all kinds of ways you can braise lamb. You can use aromatic spices and herbs, rosemary, thyme, garlic, wine, stock, all kinds of things. But I'm just going to keep this really, really simple. We are just going to use the salt that we've used to season it and some water. It can be that simple and it will be delicious, particularly if we have good lamb, which here in the UK we almost always tend to do. So this is now going to go uncovered into this hottest oven just to sear off for about 15 to 20 minutes before we add our water, cover it and turn the oven right down. Okay, this has been in for about 15 minutes now. It's just starting to get a little bit crisp on top. I can hear the fats rendering out. It's getting some nice sort of crust on it a little bit. You don't need to do it massively, it will develop more. So all we're going to do is just pour some water into here. We don't need a huge amount, we don't need to cover it, but I'm going to pour it into about halfway up the meat. We're just going to pop the lid on. I'm going to turn the oven down to about 150 degrees centigrade, about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. We're just going to pop this in there for maybe 3 hours or so and then have a look at it. Okay, so here we are, we've got our lamb. It's been in the oven for about 3.5 hours, just cooking away there. So let's just take it out of the casserole. This is very tender, it's just falling apart because it's just been braising away. We can just discard the bones. And we don't really need to even cut it as much as just pull it apart like this. I've got a frying pan on the heat and I've got my little pot of lamb shoulder here. So let's grab the pan. There we go. There's plenty of fat, so we can just put this straight into a dry pan. It'll immediately start to melt down some of the fat that was all rendered out of this lamb when it was slow cooked. Let's get this back on the heat. What we're going to do is we're just going to crisp this up a bit. While that's crisping up, let's just prep a couple of things over here. So we've got some cilantro, coriander, some spring onions, and a red chilli. And what this is going to do is it's going to take quite a rich dish and just give it some freshness, some little bit of zesty sort of edge in these onions and the herbs. Same thing with the spring onions. Just take the ends off, peel the outer layer, add a 45-degree angle, split it sideways, just take the seeds out. If you like it really spicy, you can leave the seeds in ribbons. Now, let's go back over and look at the lamb. Starting to crisp up nicely. I'm going to let it crisp up in the fat and then I'm going to pour a little bit off. Just sea salt, some flavour in there. Open it up. Open up the taste buds a bit, just strain some of the fat off, some of the tallow. It'll be really useful for other things. But I am leaving some in there because we're going to fry eggs. Now here's what we do. We put the eggs in one at a time using a ramekin to make sure that we don't break the yolks. Make a little space, gently pop that egg in. And the next one, again, just making sure that it's intact, and then popping that into the pan. And finally, 3, this side. And then we're going to season the eggs, again, sea salt. And we're going to put this back on the heat. It wants to be about a sort of medium heat, which is, I would say, what that smaller burner will do. Now, there's 2 approaches to this. Either we can just let this fry like this and just cook the whites off, or we can cover it. Now, if we cover it, we're kind of steaming, poaching the eggs effectively at the same time as we fry them, which is really great for cooking. It's quicker, and it does cook the white through, certainly before the yolks will start to cook too much, but we don't get that nice bright yellow yolk, which I just love the appearance of so much, that orange depth in the yolks, which you can see because when you steam it, they get a white film over the top. So I'm just going to let it cook uncovered. Okay. Now turn it down a little bit. Okay, so now we can see that our whites are set, our yolks are still wobbling a little, and our lamb is all crisp, so we are good to go. Now all we need to do is to scatter our herbs and chilli. Now chilli is a nightshade. If you don't do so well with nightshades, just leave it off. It's no problem. There we go. Spring onion. Crisp lamb, eggs and chilli. Give it a go. Have a nice day.